All right. Hello, hello. Hey, She Army, and welcome to the Simply She podcast live. This is episode 65. I'm your host, Crystal Vernay. And today we're going to be discussing building your business with confidence. And as you all know, since we're doing this thing live, there's no pause, there's no rewind, and we are unfiltered here on the Simply She podcast. We definitely want audience participation and questions. So, first things first, make sure you allow StreamYard access to your Facebook profile. You can revoke access at any time, but that just allows us to see who you are. And you can leave comments and questions under your name. But feel free to do so throughout the show. So don't be shy. We definitely want to hear from you. I'm super duper excited to be here today. We're going to be talking about, can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out a little bit, but I
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay. Okay, yes. Super duper excited to be here with Victoria. We're gonna be talking about building business with confidence, and let me just tell you a little bit about who she is. So Victoria Downs is a certified professional coach, business strategist, and the founder of the Brand to Profits Academy. Known for her savvy strategies and in-depth knowledge of systems and processes, Victoria is committed to helping women of color entrepreneurs scale their small businesses with vision aligned branding and positioning strategies to attract their ideal customers, increase profit, and build sustainable businesses so that they can live life on their own terms. Welcome, Victoria, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to get in this conversation with you.
Awesome. I know it's been a while since you and I talked, so I'm super excited to kind of bring you back in
Yes.
and introduce you to the Simply She Army. So, just tell listeners a little bit more about you and how you got started in business.
Yeah. Oh boy, how did I get started in business? I've been an entrepreneur for, I celebrated 15 years this past June. My first, thank you. My first business is not my current business. But I got started in entrepreneurship by, I guess, accident. I don't know if it's accident or if it was destiny. I just given birth to my second child and she was born with eczema. And I took us to the doctor and they said steroids. And I said, absolutely not. Let me go back to the kitchen. So I created a buddy butter out of shea butter. And we all know like shea butter is really popular now. But back then it took some research, it took some Googling. I'm Nigerian, and I remember my mother using shea butter on me as a child. So I created this formula that basically helped get rid of my daughter's eczema, and that's how my first business started. And from that business, you know, we were able to get national distributorship and long story short, I lost that business because I didn't know what I didn't know. But what that did for me was it planted the entrepreneurial bug, right? And since then, I've gone on and created other businesses that have been wildly successful. And my current business now is a coaching and consulting agency where I work, like you said, women of color entrepreneurs to help them develop their profitable businesses in alignment with their vision. So I'm really, truly, truly excited to get into the conversation of building your business with confidence. A little bit about myself. I feel like I'm rambling. My background is in project management and human resources. I worked at a local hospital for about 14 years, and then I left that to go work on the Elizabeth Warren's presidential campaign in 2019 into 2020. And as we know, the world literally stopped in March of 2020 with the pandemic. And of course, the campaign didn't go anywhere, or didn't go as far as we'd hoped it would. So when that campaign ended and the pandemic started, I decided to go full time in my business because for the last 14 years, I'd always been a part-time business owner, part-time entrepreneur, full-time employee. But I no longer had the full-time employee role, so I had no choice but to be a full-time business owner. And I decided that coaching was where I wanted to settle. You know, taking all of my different experiences, my different skills. I like to talk. I'm nosy, and I like to help people find solutions. So it felt like the perfect fit for me, and I'm so thankful that I get to do this work now because, like I said, it brings all of my different skills together to be able to help other people, other women, develop and build their profitable businesses in alignment with what they want to achieve in life, not just they want to make some money today. So that's who I am, and that's what I do. I hope I answered your question.
Awesome. No, you definitely did. It is okay, and I'm super excited to have you on the show. And so again, getting into the conversation, like what are some common mistakes that you see entrepreneurs make, when it comes to branding?
Mm. Well, so I think to answer that question, let's pull back Brandon. And we're talking to the She Army, right? So I don't want to assume that everybody knows what Brandon is, but y'all have an idea what Brandon is. And for those who don't really understand Brandon or know what Brandon is, it's more than your colors, it's more than your logo, it's more than your font. I refer to Brandon as I heard this one time and it stuck with me. It's the perception of experience, right? Before people do business with you, after they've done business with you, what do they think, what do they feel, how did they experience you and your brand? So when we're thinking about like mistakes that folks make when it comes to their branding, where two things. One is not starting with a clear vision, not starting with a clear objective. What are you trying to achieve, right? A lot of folks start out with, I want to have a business and I'm going to launch this line and I want this color and that color and that color and it's going to be bomb. It could be, but there's so much more than just I'm going to, I've done, because you have to think about what you want your folks to experience, what you want your customer and client experience to be, because that's what's important in helping you build your business. So not really having a clear vision of what the objective is. And then two, not being intentional with your branding, right? If you don't have a vision, you're moving about. And when you're not intentionally every day, building your brand, positioning your brand, you're just going to be moving any kind of way without any, like, again, objective. You don't have any intentions around what you want to achieve other than I want to make money. If that's the only intention in your business, you need to go back a little bit and pull it back and decide what is it really that this business, because entrepreneurship is a vehicle, right? Entrepreneurship is not the be all, and it's not for everybody, but it can be a vehicle to creating freedom. It can be a vehicle to creating wealth. So deciding what your destination is really going to help you be not only intentional about your branding, but intentional about your brand identity, your design, your messaging, the people that you want to work with, how you want to work with them, the experience you want them to have. It's a full 360, for lack of a better word, it's a full 360. I don't know what the word to put in it, but you have to think about all of those different things when you think about branding, because it cannot be siloed. You cannot deal with your branding in different phases, in different stages. Everything works together to give you the outcomes that you want. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. Love that response. I agree with 100% everything that you said. And I do use that definition, I think, to the others' perception
Mm-hmm.
of, your business and the service. But I also use the analogy that like your business um, is your body and the brand is the soul.
Ooh,
Um, because
that's good.
people do not they do not understand. It's like, even when I tell people to go look up what branding means, they use the
Mm-hmm.
word brand in the definition of brand, and I'm like, well,
Right.
how am I going to express, like explain this to a client? So that
Right.
was kind of like the definition I kind of came upon. I was like, I think this is a great way to describe it.
I
But
love
definitely I'm with you when it comes to that people aren't intentional about,
it.
client experience, their mission, their vision. Like
Mm-hmm.
I do this thing a lot with business versus brand. So it's kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
what does that really mean? Where the business is really the revenue portion of it. And the brand is like the mission, the vision, like where are you going? What are you saying? What's the value that you're trying to provide? The
Mm-hmm.
experience that, truly want your brand community to have. So love it, love it,
Exactly.
love it. Everything
Can I
that
add
you're
one
saying.
more thing to that?
Yes.
Just to add on really quickly, like when we're thinking about the full experience, a lot of folks also miss out on how they're serving their clients and
Mm,
customers, their systems, right? Because your systems help to either enhance or take away from that experience. Because when we think about branding, again, it's the aesthetic stuff, it's the brand, it's the I am the brand,
mhm.
right? but like how are we serving folks? Are there things or are there systems or yeah, there's systems or apps that can help enhance that experience for your client or your customer. So I feel like your systems is also part of your branding, like your branding strategy, to make sure that, because if you, let's say you're a high ticket coach, for instance, and your program's a 4 figure or more, I expect a 4 figure or more experience. But if you don't
Absolutely.
have systems that make my process seamless, that make my process streamlined, that makes my experience one that I want to have over and over again and tell people about, you're dropping the ball somewhere in your branding. So that's why I said, like, it's a whole 360 evaluation that you have to do when you're thinking about your branding. Literally every facet of your business. How are you serving? How are you showing up? How are you delivering? And how are you nurturing after they spent money with you? All of it is included in your branding.
Yes, amen. Everything she said. Like 100%.
Yeah.
I think okay, so let's pretend, for example, that we got that down, right? And
Hmm.
so we're like we feel like we're ready for the next level. What do you
Hmm.
feel like most coaches, consultants, strategists struggle with when it comes time to scale and push forward to that next level?
Mm. Okay. Two things that I've seen the most. One is not having clarity. We know that the level that we're at right now, we're killing it on this level, and we know we want to go to the next level. Well, what does that look like? What is your next level? Like, what's the next logical level for you? So, not having clarity keeps you fuzzy on the directions. Like, you don't really know where you're trying to go. So you're just like, well, let me try this. Oh, I see her doing that. Let me try that too. And you're like, but it's not working because sis, it's not for you. So what you need to have, you need to have clarity around what your next level looks like, because her next level is not the same as, is not, it's not going to be the same as your next level. And the other thing is, um trying to do everything themselves.
Mhm.
As you grow and evolve in your business, there's some things that I'm not going to say is not worthy of your time anymore, but your time is better spent doing other things, right? So, and that's what we talk about systems. Some of the things that you can automate, or some of the things that you're currently doing, you may be able to automate, and some of it you may have to delegate to another human because it's not a task that you can automate.
Not a
But
CEO task.
exactly. But and
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like, what are the CEO tasks in my business? What are the money generating tasks in my business that would allow me to continue to grow? So trying to be everything in your business, trying to wear every hat because you're trying to save a penny. That's going to keep you stuck at the level that you're at. And then not having clarity as to what your next level is, and then not having the direction and not knowing when to ask for help. Like, hey, I want to grow, or I am growing, I just don't know how to handle it. Or I'm growing and I need to scale and I don't know how to do that. Can, whether it's you seeking help from a coach, whether you're talking to a mentor, whether you read, whatever it is, like seeking that clarity, getting that clarity first will not only help you get your directions, but also give you the confidence to move with information. So I would say those are the two top things. Like, know your CEO role, know your role and play it well. Two, have and get clarity however you can get it, so that you can know exactly what it is you need to do to get to your next level.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. A lot of people, one of the number one questions that I get is like, why didn't I do something, or why am I not doing something? And my answer is like, it's not for me.
Mm,
Like,
that's it.
you have to have that confidence in yourself and in your brand
Mhm.
to know when to say yes, raise your hand for an opportunity, and say no, it's not for me.
It's
And
not
I
for me.
think that's like one of the number one things that, as as you grow up in business and you get really clear about what it is that you do and you do not do, you will know how to answer that question. No is my favorite word.
Mm-hmm.
Is my favorite
Very
word.
true. Very, very
Um,
true.
and I think one other thing that you said about knowing when to delegate, absolutely. But I also think the flip side of that too is delegating too early. So I've
Yeah.
seen people struggle with that as well, whereas they don't want to do anything um, necessarily. And I don't want to say they want to do their business, but they don't want to do any of the tasks that maybe they should take on to know how to do it best. Because that's where your standard operating procedures come from, your
Oh,
SOPs
yeah.
come from.
Yes.
Like you
Yes.
have how to like, it's like there's a way to do, like, okay, I'll use my studio for example. There's a way to do administration at X
Mm-hmm.
Studio, and there's a way to do administration at Divas and Dolls Fitness, right?
Right.
So if you yourself don't know what that is, how do you train someone so that you can scale your business in the proper way? And
Mm-hmm.
so that definitely, that just brought that to mind when you said that, because I'm definitely, you must delegate the tasks that are not CEO tasks, but
Yeah.
sometimes you do have to do the work so that you
Yeah.
can delegate more effectively.
I
So,
have a real life example of that same situation. So remember my very first business that
mhm,
I ended up losing? We delegated, and the folks that we hired ended up telling us how to run the business. Right? They ended up because we're like, oh, I'm not a marketing person, I'm not a PR person, I'm not a this, I'm not a that. So we created a team because that's what you're supposed to do. You bring
right,
people from their zones of geniuses to help build your business. But when you don't know that task, when you're and I'm not saying you have to know how to execute it perfectly, but at
right,
least have an idea of what it should look like for your business. Have an idea of
exactly,
what kind of outcomes you want to achieve. Have an idea of what budget you're going to need to put behind it, right? If you don't know any of those things, people will come in and realize that you don't know jack about jack, and they'll start telling you, oh, this is what you should do, or you should do this and you should do that. And but before you know it, they're saying jump and you're saying how high.
you be a hostage in your own business.
Bingo. It's such I thank you for bringing that up, because it just reminded me of, we basically like jumped too far ahead too soon. We were doing really well and thought we needed to bring people in, and we did. But what we did not take the time to do was to actually learn the business of running the business, so that when we brought people in, we were delegating to them rather than them dictating to us, this is what you do. And as a
Exactly.
result of that, we ended up losing the business because there was just so many cooks in the kitchen and nobody was coming up with anything delicious. Like, all y'all in the kitchen for no reason. Like, why are we all here?
You just passing around ingredients. Nobody
Just
knows how to
passing
make
around.
anything.
Like, seriously. Like, we just over here having kiki and kaka, and like there's no food being cooked. Like, what's good? Yeah. So it was definitely a lesson learned. Yes, I agree for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that also kind of ties into my next question of like, how do you stay motivated
Mm.
to continue to reach new milestones and levels in your business?
Yeah. For me, so I'm a huge vision person. Like, everything for me starts with a vision. And I want to go as far as saying everybody starts something with a vision. Before you execute, before you implement, you have an idea. That's a vision. It's not real life yet. So you've kind of thought of it. Maybe you think it through. Maybe you're just like, oh, we could, it should, it would. You have a vision. So for me, it's when I know what my vision is, and I have my life vision, I have my business vision, I have, what I want to manifest over the next 90 days into the next 12 months, and etc. But for me, what keeps me motivated is knowing that I'm working towards manifesting something bigger. And what I teach my clients is, like, we identify what your business vision is, and then we break those down into goals. So your goals are what you're working towards on a day-to-day basis, but all of that cumulative, saying that right? All of those efforts
Mhm.
come together to help manifest your vision. So what keeps me motivated is knowing that pretty soon I'm going to be working from anywhere. And when I say anywhere, I mean a beach in Costa Rica. So knowing that the things I'm doing today is going to allow me to live that life, is going to be allowing me to world school my children. Like, there's no bigger motivator for me. So staying motivated in your business, I think it's putting that objective, that goal, that vision in front of you, so you know what you're working towards. And when you see the progress, even if it's little progress, if you're doing one or two things for your business, even if you're not in it full time, but you're taking actions every day or every other day or once a week, however many hours you give to your business every week, and you see the progress, you see that needle moving, it motivates you to do more. And for me, it's like little actions add up to big results. So my motivator is, we want to be in Costa Rica, so let's keep working.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
what does it look like to work with you? You kind of went into a little bit, but can you give us an idea?
Ah, so I'm not cookie cutter at all. It's, I meet people where they are. It's what is your objective? What are you trying to achieve with your business? My overall framework is to help and teach folks how to properly lay the foundations to build a profitable business. Not just a business you're going to have to run every day, but a business that you can build for the long term.
Uh-oh. We lose you. Victoria, we can't hear you. Hello? Lost Victoria, guys. For a second to come back on. This is, this is live. So this is what happens. So she had to, it looks like she had to drop out. She'll be right back. So while she's gone, I'll just talk to you guys a minute while we wait for her to log back in. Victoria was definitely sharing a lot of gems with you guys. A lot of gems with you guys, and definitely, hopefully, you're taking her words to heart and what she's saying. But in general, I think that it's really, really, really important to lay a strong foundation when it comes to your business and to your brand. Oh, can't hear. Okay, can you hear now? Can you hear me now? Can't hear anything? Can you guys hear me? Sounds breaking out. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see. Let's see. Victoria dropped. Hold on. Let me see, guys. What we got going on here? No, just bad sound. Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me Okay. Are you able to hear? Is it better? Same? Okay, here's Victoria.
I don't even know what happened. I was
Okay.
over here. Mouth. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All
Better
right.
now.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're
Okay.
good to
All right.
go.
Okay.
So
Let's
we're
just.
gonna we're gonna ask the question again about what it looks like to work with you and go.
Whew, Lord. So I don't take a cookie cutter approach. I like to meet folks where they are, and my work is centered around helping women of color, particularly coaches, consultants, and strategists, really put down, lay the foundations for building a profitable business, a business that they, whether your goal or your vision is to make money today or to pass it on to your kids in the future or to be able to at least create freedom in your life, whatever that looks like for you. So I have a framework that I do take my folks through, and really it's the very first step is, what are you trying to achieve? Like, that's where it all starts. And a lot of folks aren't really sold on the idea of reverse engineering, but like every strategist, every coach, every consultant is reverse engineering something, because it's, why reinvent the wheel, right? So it's knowing where you're going and then creating, plugging that address into your GPS, and let's finding the way to get to your destination. And that's really what my work is around. So whether you are trying to launch your 4-figure program, your high ticket program, or you're trying to launch a course, or you're trying to attract your ideal client, the work is centered around creating objectives and goals, and then really putting in place, one, identifying who you are, what you do really well, who you'd like to work with and who would best benefit from what you have to offer, and then being able to put all of that together to put the best offers in front of them. So like I said, it's not cookie cutter, it's what do you need, and then let's create a roadmap to get you there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs tuning in, and what would you say to entrepreneurs hesitating to take that next step in their business, whether it's to get their processes in order, get them into SOPs like we talked about, delegating, maybe it's even changing their strategy. What words of wisdom could you provide?
The very first thing, and I think I've said this a lot, and I'll say it again because this is the crux of the matter, really. It's the meat of the matter is identify what you're trying to achieve. What are you trying to do? Where are you in business, and where are you trying to go? So if it's, documenting your processes so you can have a standard operating procedure to hand off to somebody, maybe you're getting ready to delegate, then if that's your objective, then you know that as everything that you do, whether you screen record yourself or you record a voice memo, but start one by identifying what your objective is, and then take it one day at a time, take it one task at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself with, I need to do SOPs, I need to I need a strategy to launch my next product, and I need to create that journal because the holiday season is coming up. Oh my gosh, Black Friday, I need to create a code. You can't do it all in the same moment, in the same breath. And I think that's why a lot of folks are like, I don't know what to do next, because there's so many things to do, seemingly, and there's so much information out on the internet. There's like this overwhelm of information out. So it's one, identifying what it is you're trying to achieve, and then breaking it down into goals, breaking it down into micro goals, breaking it down into actionable tasks and things. Even if it's one action a day, it'll move you closer to being able to achieve that goal. But don't overwhelm yourself with too much information, too much I want, I got, I should. Identify where you're trying to go. So we talk about your journey, your vision, your path, and then take the steps one by one to execute and to implement, and you'll get there. Just don't overwhelm yourself, because it can be too much when you're taking in all this information and trying to accomplish all of it in one breath.
Absolutely. So, do you have anyone that particular inspires you or gives you advice that you live by?
Mm. So, and the person who inspires me is my mother. She's late. She passed away 22, a long time ago, 22 years, about 20 years now. But my mother was my first example of an entrepreneur. And I remember sitting at her feet in her office, or just sitting in the office, and she's bossing people around. And I think that's where I got it from. I don't necessarily want to boss people around, but I want to be in charge. I want to be in control. And like, getting advice really is like, this is one of the things I tell people, like, you have to have a village. You have to have a support system. Entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. It can be a beast. It can be overwhelming. It can be depressing. It can be lonely. It can be all of those negative things, but it can also be an absolute joy. It could be so fulfilling. It is fulfilling for me, but it also helps when you have a support system in place, and that could be a friend, that could be a community. And I think one of the wonderful things about the pandemic, if we can think of like the silver linings in the pandemic, is it's brought us, I guess, closer online, because we didn't have anywhere else to go for like a
Right.
good year. So there are a lot of different communities that already existed, but even more so now are flourishing because people need community. So find your tribe, hang out with them, talk to them, learn from them, and really finding who your tribe is and your village is to support you. My support system: my husband, my best friend, my accountability partner, my coach, my therapist, my poor therapist, but he's in there. So it's all of those people that I talk to. And I don't talk to everyone about the same things. There are different things that in my business that I talk to different people about. And the other thing I'll say too is, like, getting words of advice from folks is, make sure that the folks that you're talking to have similar or same aspirations as you. Make sure that they're either on your level or above where you're, or trying, or already where you're trying to get to. Don't talk to people who don't have dreams. Don't talk to people who don't dream. Don't take advice from people who don't have dreams, because it won't help you. So what I found is, I get inspiration and I get wisdom from folks who are either doing what I want to do or have already accomplished what I'd like to do. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did. And amazing advice, because I actually like give similar advice, and that definitely resonates with me in terms of making sure your circle, people who are closest to you, are supportive.
Mhm.
They lift you up. They're better than you. They're in a better position and
Mhm.
they can guide you. And that's who you should strive to surround yourself with, because they
Absolutely.
can light the way in so many
Absolutely.
instances. And I think sometimes we shy away from that, especially when we think we're supposed to be around certain people, or we have to bring certain people with us. If you're walking and your load is getting heavier and heavier and heavier to where you can't walk anymore, sometimes you got to drop the baggage, right? So that you can move
Mhm.
forward. And
Mhm.
I think that's
Absolutely.
nothing can be truer than making sure that your support system is like-minded, and truly
Correct.
positive, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't agree
So I
more.
think, yes, I think we would all love to know, what new projects are you working on?
Woo. So I got a few things up my sleeve. Um, but I'll tell you about some really excited about my signature offer that I've kind of pulled off the shelf, and I'm kind of making her pretty, putting her together. I've broken her down and put it. I don't know why I'm saying her, but like just putting it back together again. So I have I'm going to be launching this in October, particularly for coaches, consultants, and strategists. It's an 8-week high touch program that takes them through the entire journey of what you're trying to do, an assessment of where you are and where you're trying to go, identifying who your offers, your programs, your courses are best suited for, where they are, how to find them, where to talk to them, how to talk to them, and then putting together the meat of your offer, the like offer stack. And I don't know if folks understand what that means, but like really putting together the offer to make sure that it's the best one for the folks that you're trying to serve. Because what I find with people that I've worked with, particularly over the last 18 months, is they think what worked for them and how it worked for them is exactly how it's going to work for the next person. And it may or may not, but sometimes you have to take into consideration how people want to be served, how people want to be how they want you to work with them. So it's taking their information, or taking that customer data and using it based on your expertise and your skills to really create the ideal package, the premium solution to their problem, so that you're not offering this beautiful program, a program you think is beautiful, a program that you think is transformative, a program that you think is valuable, and your ideal client is looking at you like, I don't want that. Who told you I wanted that? So
Mhm.
it's helping them to really package their offers in a way that it's not only going to be attractive, but it will also help them build their profitable business. So I'm really excited to launch that in October. I don't have a date yet, because I'm gonna let you know as we get a little closer. But yes, that's one of my babies that
Absolutely.
I'm working on right now.
Awesome. And that I'll include your links and information also too in the show notes, so people can get in contact with you. I think we're going to go ahead and open it up for questions. I know we at least have one question. So if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. I'm going to go ahead and read it. It says, "Hi, ladies. Quick question. Any suggestions for an entrepreneur that knows enough to put on actions, but whenever she said today, I will definitely do more than yesterday to work things out, and boom, that person takes one step backwards. Um, Fear. Hopefully, you guys understand my question."
Can you read that again? Oh, it's on the screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I just put it up there. Can
Know
you
enough
see
to put
it?
an action, but whenever, yeah, takes one step back. Fear. Hopefully that. So I'm not sure if this person's still in the room, but are you asking how to make sure that you take the action? Is that your understanding, Crystal? Just want to be
Yeah,
sure what the
I
question.
think so. Like basically, they know what to do, and then they say they're going to do it, like they're going to do it tomorrow, but then they end up not doing it
Mhm.
because of fear. Like fear makes them take steps,
Ah,
a step or two
okay,
backwards, is how I understand it.
okay.
Yes. Okay.
So
Yes.
if fear is what's keeping you from doing the doggone thing, then I highly encourage you to invite fear out to have coffee with you. And you're going to ask fear three questions. Why are you here? What's good? Why are you here? What are you here to teach me? And what do I need to do? And I think in asking, and when I say have coffee with fear, it's really you and yourself just having a conversation. What is this fear all about? Because it's not the fear of completing the task. It's the fear of the outcome. The maybe it's a fear of failure, maybe it's a fear of success, whatever that fear may be, right? So what is it exactly that you're afraid of? Are you afraid of completing it and actually doing well? Or are you afraid of not completing it and then okay, not completing it and then
Okay.
you feel like you have that fear. Because if your fear is justified, then maybe you should look at the task and see why it is that it's bringing you so much fear. If your fear is not justified, then you really need to just feel the fear and do it anyways. But have lunch with
Yes.
your fear and see. I really will look at myself in the mirror and go, what's good, Victoria? Like, what are we doing? Are we doing this or we not? You said you wanted to do it. So what's the reason why we're procrastinating? What's the reason why we're dilly dallying? What's the reason why we're playing double dutch with our vision? What's going on, Victoria? Get to work. You said you wanted to be in Costa Rica in 12 months. So the actions you're taking now, is it going to help you be in Costa Rica or are you going to be in Boston still? Pick a lane. What do you want to do? I'm speaking for
Mhm.
myself because I have these conversations too. Because no matter what level you get to, no matter the level of success, there's always going to be something in the pit of your stomach that says don't do it. You really don't want to do it because if you do it, X is going to happen. And if X happens,
Mhm.
it's going to blow you all the way up. You really want that? And I think it's really having those conversations with ourselves and getting to the root of why we feel how we feel. And I think if we have those conversations, we'll realize that fear is something that is, it's there to remind us that we're human, but it's not something that should be an obstacle or something that keeps us from achieving what we said we want to achieve.
Absolutely. 100% agree. I think one of the things I found helpful for folks is to actually like write it down. I'm a big proponent of like journaling and writing things down. And one of the things that when we talk about our fears or slaying your fears is to
Mm-hmm.
actually write down what is actually the worst, like what's the worst you feel is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does happen, then what? Like write it down. Seriously, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times it's just, it's like, I failed or I would be embarrassed. And then if you're embarrassed, then what happens? Like you're gonna wake up tomorrow, try again. So it's kind of like, what is really gonna be if that worst thing in your mind actually happens, then what? And when
Mm-hmm.
you write it down, you see it on paper, it's kind of like, okay, I mean, if this is the worst that's gonna happen, it's like, and how would I feel impacted by that? Like,
Right.
and then it's like, okay. And so once you're able to kind of mentally step through what would like that
Mm-hmm.
scenario, a lot of times it does help kind of, get past the thing or get past the block, the mental block, just
Yeah.
release those self-limiting beliefs. It's like, yeah, no, I mean, if this does happen, the worst that's going to happen, is that, no one likes my post or no one like, I
Right.
mean, whatever that case may be. So,
Right.
just want to share that little exercise that sometimes I complete, or I even have my clients complete as well if they really are, they're fearful about just taking that next step. It's like, what's the worst thing that's
Yeah.
going to happen? And then being able to move forward.
Yeah.
We do have another question. She's asking, this is for you. Let me go ahead and put this on the
Mm-hmm.
screen. She's asking, do you still sell eczema products? 4-year-old daughter has eczema. She's tried so many recipes for homemade body butter for her skin. None are working, and none from her pediatrician work.
Unfortunately, I don't. When we shut down that business, it it broke my spirit for a short period of time. I bounced back, but so what I did was I everything that had to do with skincare and hair care and beauty, I chucked it. I didn't want any part of it because I was so traumatized by the experience. And we'll tell the story of how the loss happened another day. But I don't still have the business. However, um, I can't even say I will give you the recipe because I don't even remember what's in it. I'm sure I could come up with something else, but I will if I can think of what the because it's really honestly like the product, there was nothing in the product that you can't find online. Like it was shea butter, it was some oils, and it was really like the combination and the composition and not the chemical, but like the way that it was mixed for the balance of it. And really it
Mm.
was using all natural products for my child. So no more Johnson and Johnson. We started using oatmeal. Like I started making my own soap, right? And I started like being really diligent about making sure that I took. And I'm not saying that you're not taking care of your daughter, but it was before it was like, oh, you're supposed to use Johnson and Johnson, or you use the things that come in the package. Had to chuck all of the stuff that wasn't natural, and I started using only things that I created. And even till today, I still make the butters for the kids. They don't use anything else. Even my husband, like, he won't use anything else other than things that I make in my kitchen. I don't make it to sell anymore, but it's looking at what is in your if you're able to make it, or if you're buying something, like what is in it? Is it natural? Is it organic? Is it from the earth? And is it something that will help the skin? Making sure that it's an ingredient that is going to absorb into the skin rather than sit on the skin. So looking at the different I wish I could give you the exact recipe, but I actually don't remember what the exact composition was. But I don't make it anymore. But I think like if you I'm trying to think of the best way to tell you to mix something together, and I can't just come up with it at the top of my head right now. But looking at the ingredients that's in the products that your child is using or that you're putting on your child, and seeing what the efficacy is it sitting on the skin rather than absorbing on the skin? If it's sitting on the skin, it's not doing anything for you. You want something that's going to absorb, that's going to heal from within. And another thing about eczema too is what is she eating? Because that was the other part of what I found with my daughter was what were we feeding her? Like I was giving her a formula that was made that she was allergic to, right? So I needed to switch her
Mm.
diet because she was so young. I need to make sure that she was only getting the natural breast milk from me rather than supplementing with other things. So it's a whole bunch of different things that helped me to help my daughter. So I would encourage you to look at that as well. And I agree with you, the pediatrician stuff does not work. It actually makes it worse. So I'm sorry that you're going through that with your daughter, because it's not fun for you, and I'm sure it's not fun for her.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. If you guys have
Well,
any other questions, you can drop them in the chat. Victoria, do you want to go ahead and just drop your social media handle so that and websites so that people can learn how to connect more with you?
well, did you want me to type it or say it? I'm sorry.
Oh, you can say it.
Oh, okay. So we're on social media, our website. It's all the Brand to Profits Academy. So Brand to Profits. Like what we do here, we help you build a brand and we help you get to your profits. So Brand to Profits Academy on Facebook, Instagram, and our website is brandtoprofits.com.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I think I don't see any further questions, so we're going to go ahead and wrap. So, for more information on Victoria, how to connect with her, how to get in contact with her, you'll be able to click the links in the show notes for this episode. This is episode 65. Again, the links for Victoria will be in the show notes. This is episode 65. And the show notes for this episode can be found at isimplishe.com/podcast. Again, that's isimplishe.com/podcast. Also, if you'd like to join a collective of women dedicated to being empowered and becoming the best version of themselves, join the She Army Facebook community. And the link for that is also in the show notes at isimplishe.com/podcast. I truly hope that you all have found what we've shared here today to be helpful. And remember, you too can conquer if you slay hard every day. Take care, guys.